What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Showtime knows the Blazer King with King's Critiques. Bring you my being worked on review for Jujutsu Kaisen. Since apparently it only has a few episodes left in the season anyway, I figure, I'd do the thing like I'm doing while recording ReZero right now and, you know, watch it every now and then and keep piling on little minute or two reviews, maybe even more, depending on what my thoughts are. And just smash that into one video to be uploaded TBD, i.e., when I'm done with the season. But with that being said, let me give my thoughts on the first episode. And my first thought is the main character, wow, does he have some bad luck with things, but he's also kind of a badass, so it evens out. Anyway, in the beginning, he gets, he worries about his grandpa who's in the hospital, which, one of the first typical tropes that I'm gonna mention. Secondly, he gets bullshitted by his teacher into being thrown into some kind of club he doesn't want to be until he is challenged by his teacher to have their mind changed. Pretty sure that's another trope. And, hey, look at that. The teacher, proves he's hot shit, and then the main character proves he is even more of hot shit. And leaves his teacher stunned for like 20 minutes about what just happened. Meanwhile, they're, doing their whole talking and bridge building of sorts, I guess is a way to put it. But put aside from that, in the interim of him going to see his grandpa in the hospital the first time, or him calling about his grandfather the first time, and him beating his coach, not teacher, in a contest, this guy is looking for some kind of cursed object around the schoolyard, which is kind of where the direction of the show is going, other than the whole club thing. Which, of course, it's an occult club, because, more plot devices. But after that, the main character runs by the other guy, and the other guy gets an intense feeling of, the cursed object he's looking for. So, yeah, that happens, and the new guy goes to track him down. Meanwhile, the main character, buys some flowers and goes to the hospital to see Grandpappy. That's all well and nice until he gets, bitched at and tells his grandpa to shut up and chill. And his grandpa does chill after giving him some meaningful words, some rules to live by and go by. And then, in another more peaceful than normal kind of trope, a family member dies in the first episode. But hey, at least it's better than getting eaten by something bigger than you. Though we have some things to talk about with that anyway. So, that happens. And then the new guy talks to him about the cursed object, and he's like, well, I had that, but now my friends have it. And, of course, in typical fashion, the friends are stupid enough to unwrap the bindings of this curse to see what happens. So the two of them rush to his friends, and by the time they get to the school, things have already gone south. The curse from the cursed object comes out and starts to pretty much hunt his friends. Gets one of them, kinda, sorta. And because of that, ends up getting the girl. To which, little side note, this is one of those times where they take a plain looking girl and make her really hot in scenes where it looks like she's gonna die. I don't know if that's some sort of vor fetish thing, but she's probably already gonna be one of my favorites of the series. Anyway, that's beside the point. So yeah, one friend gets seemingly eaten. She's about to be seemingly eaten, and the guy who's an exorcist or whatever it was, pretty sure he does exorcisms and kills curses, so I'm guessing that's what we're going with for now, is having trouble trying to figure out how to kill the thing without hurting his friend. And meanwhile, he's having his own inner monologue outside, like, am I scared? Should I go help him anyway, even though he told me to stay out here? Excuse me. So the main character basically comes up with, my grandpa told me to protect people, so that's just what I'm gonna go do. So I broke into the schoolyard, and, well, this boy can jump even though he's not powered by any sort of demonic energy himself. Yet. For all we know. And jumps from floor 1 to floor 4 and breaks through a window in the middle of the new guy's own inner monologue of, shit, what do I do, what do I do, what do I do? And, well, the curse spits up his friends, at least, after he rips them out of its mouth and slides to the side like a badass, like, yeah, I got my friends, you can finish it off. Oh, hey, cool, you did, awesome. So here's the cursed object, and some sort of mini story about if a creature eats it, it gets stronger. Totally not more plot devices. And in the middle of handing it over, he gets attacked again by another bigger curse. And in a more literal sense than metaphorical, for once. Because curses are basically demons in this, I guess. And that's where the latter half of the setup goes. To one of those, again, tropes is the word I'm going to use, where the guy who seems like more of a badass than the main character gets the shit kicked out of him as he's pushed outside onto one of those classic Japanese school-style little bridges in between buildings. Pretty sure we don't have that many places here. Anyway. To which he's having trouble with this big curse, and in comes the main character to try and defend him as he was told to do, and he himself is getting the shit kicked out of him after, landing a couple good punches. So while he's about to be squeezed, he tosses the curse up in the air and hopes it falls down or he can catch it, and he catches it alright, but then he has a thought of, do I try and throw this to the other guy who's already weak? Or do I... And then it hit. Like so many before him. Like Deku, for example. Yeah, fucking... Yes, I did have to slip that in. He tossed that finger up into the air and... down the hatch. To get that extra special boost he needed. Although he could have died, but... plot armor, to break free of the grasp of this curse, and not only that, but slaughter what was attacking them. Though that's only the good side of things. The bad side of things is now apparently he has his own curse where he's possessed by the spirit of that finger, which was the cursed object, if you didn't pick up on that. And even though he's possessed after some monologue by what he's possessed by, he just kind of steps backward like, bro, what are you doing? Can you just get shoved back down in the deepest regions of my brain? Because this is my body, and But while arguing with the thing possessing him, the exorcist guy tries to pull the card of, yeah, no, can't let you escape, or you might cause some serious damage. And that's basically where they ended it. Though it showed a preview for the next episode, which involves the main character getting the shit kicked out of him by some other new character who is actually somebody we saw in the first 5 minutes of the episode, who said, yeah, I'm gonna have to execute you. And then they rolled the intro and I guess went back to a day before. So that's my thoughts on just the first episode. 11 minutes for the first episode. Wow, that's definitely a record just off top of my noodle and not written down like the first half of ReZero is going to be. But we're going to move into the next episode and see how it do. I'm going to just keep doing this until I'm either caught up with it or until the season's done. So, see ya. And here we are for the review of part 2, which takes us back into how the last episode ended. And while, the new guy was in the middle of, I should really try to remember his name, but whatever. Was in the middle of trying to consider, shit, do I kill this guy or no? He seems to be handling it well. His teacher came through and was like, yo, what's good? And decided to take things into his own hand. Research the main character and all that he has going on. And he's like, let's run some tests. And asked, can you give me 10 seconds with the thing possessing you and then come back to us? He's like, sure, no problem. So, main character transforms into the thing possessing him, and little mini 10-second fight scene, though obviously not literally 10 seconds, it lasted a little bit longer than that because anime time. And at the 10-second mark, he popped back as asked, no big deal, just like, alright, yeah, whatever, gonna shove this thing back down deep inside of me and shut him up for a little while. And that earned him a one-way ticket to being knocked the fuck out. Sending us back to where the series began, of him being tied up and questioned by the teacher. Well, I don't actually know yet if he's an actual teacher. I know he's the one guy's senpai, so I would imagine he means he's an actual teacher. He's kind of like Jiraiya so far, except for not as pervy yet. So, yeah, that's a thing. And he's like, so you have two options. You see this finger that you ate yesterday? There's 20 of these things, so you either can die now because you already ate one of them and house the curse, or you can ingest the other 19 and become a super strong vessel that we will inevitably kill. Gotta love ultimatums like that, don't you? Either do what we say or die. So of course he picks the living longer option. So that ends up in him having to be transferred to a new school and also being put through a test by another one of his new teachers to make sure he actually gets into the school, which involves him fighting a stuffed dog thing that has a balding spot for some reason. It's more so to have him prove himself and say the right things to the teacher, headmaster, whichever it was, in order to actually be accepted into the school instead of just auto-dead. and he was pretty simple about it. I didn't know the Jennifer Lawrence line was legitimately in the show. I kind of thought that it was just memes being fit in for subtitles that sound Americanized, but that is literally what he said. Anywho, after getting the shit kicked out of him by that cursed dog thing, he eventually found out what he needed to say, and they'd be brought into the school and shown into a dorm, and his new roomie is the guy he met last night who kind of backed the whole letting him live for a bit longer thing. And the episode just ended off with showing who I guess will be another main character in the show. Back in riding a train to back to the school. This one's a girl, and she kind of cute too. Not gonna lie, a little slanted on this portion, one of those characters, but she kind of cute. And last note before I end off is the outro for this anime is fucking weird. The music isn't great, but at least it's not horrible. And the video is just weird. So, yeah. Episode 2 is good. Let's see how 3 goes in just a bit. And we're going to come back in with episode 3 here. My thoughts on it. First of all, I was wrong, and the girl wasn't making her way back to Japan. She was actually on her way to Japan for the first time, apparently. And she's a little cuter than the first picture shown of her would lead to believe. But anyway, she's apparently the third first year to join Itatori and Fujiguro, who will soon be introduced as Kugisaki. Yeah, we're gonna start using names now. I forgot the sensei's name, but hey, it's fine. He's a dude. He is a bro. That being said, it seems that the 3 of them, well, at least the 2 of them, being Kugisaki and Itadori, Jesus, that's gonna be a bitch, are gonna be sent on a little side mission once they pick her up to go and exorcise a building that's been taken over by curses. There's just a few of them, no big deal, except for the fact she's never seen curses that witty. So while he handles himself on the lower levels of the abandoned building, she runs into a bit of trouble up top, exorcising one curse pretty easily. But then she realizes there's a child hiding behind there, and hiding behind a bunch of boxes, and apparently he didn't want to go with her the first time, so there was a little bit of motivation from a bigger, more, as I said, witty curse that came out from inside the wall and snagged that little child by his head. And while he could have just easily went pop and been done with it, no, he wanted to screw with her and just kind of be like, yeah, you're going to attack me? Gotta kill this kid first. How do you feel about that? So she just kind of sits there running over the dilemma with herself. And another side note, because I have to be that person, but she got something going on too, just like the first girl that was shown in the series. Anyway, she does have her own tactics though, because after Itadori comes through and literally comes through the wall, and saves the kid, punches the shit out of the curse, also disarms him. It tries to escape, and she uses one of her own techniques to finish the thing off before it gets too far. And then goes into her own little backstory, which leaves people questioning, did this girl in her past get killed and that's why she wanted to leave the countryside? Or did something else happen? Yeah, everyone needs their own backstory, right? So I guess we'll see more of hers in due time. And then they just had a little comedy bit about where they were going to have some food after the kid got home. That being an after credits sequence, but another good episode. This is one by one of the better animation studios, and also gave a preview to the next episode. Before the whole scene where they were trying to figure out where they were going for food, of a bunch of guys who supposedly didn't have any sort of, cognition to anything going on. And they see a giant womb in the sky hosting a curse baby, I guess. It's kind of weird, but suppose we'll see where this goes in the next episode. What will that womb birth? Will it give birth? Will they be able to destroy it in time? Find out next time on... Wait, no, that's wrong. Find out next time on Jujutsu Kaisen. Alright, and into the next one, which, as I mentioned in the last episode, this is about trying to kill whatever comes out of that giant cursed womb in the sky. And, well, they're a little bit too late to stop it from being born, as it were. Because when the three of them get in there, after listening to a mother's crying plea about making sure her son got out, he didn't. And after finding out he didn't, they had an argument about whether to bring him back or not. And during that argument, I forgot her name. Bloody hell. Fujisaki? Yeah, sure. Pretty sure it was Fujisaki. Could also be thinking of another anime. I literally just said it last time. But regardless, she disappeared, and now it's up to the two boys to try and beat this thing on their own and rescue her. Unfortunately, it disarmed Itadori, and, well, Fujiguro had to make a run for it. Now that I say Fujiguro, I know I fucked up her name. It was something Saki. Saki $5. Anyway. So, in that split moment, Itadori was like, dude, run. Go find her and get the fuck out. Let me know when you're out, and I'll let this bad boy inside of me come out. So he ran, and our main character got the shit kicked out of him. Fingers burned off, more of his arm cut off. A bad time all around. So while he was getting the shit kicked out of him, he kept having an inner monologue to himself like, shh, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. I half regret what I did being here to get here. And then when he finally learned to start fighting back, unlocking his own potential powers, it basically ended in him being laughed at by this creature that is super strong as far as normal exorcists are concerned. Up until he heard a wolf howl, signifying that it's time to let loose, and that's what he does. He allows the thing possessing him to take over, which isn't normally a bad thing, but at first the spirit was like, maybe if I team with this thing, I can kill those brats and wreak havoc. But unfortunately, the thing that came from the womb didn't really know how to properly join up with this thing inside of our main character. So it destroyed him. Using a power that nobody really thought that he would use, but at least he didn't turn it on other people yet. But there's the bad part. As soon as the thing they came to kill was dead, he told Itadori they could come back out, and he didn't. So does that mean his spirit had died and this is going to be a whole thing? Or is it just temporary while he gets some rest after getting the shit kicked out of him? Suppose we'll see in the next one. Which, this will definitely, like, I'm going to have to mix this in with a couple other shows, but for tonight, this is definitely a good show to be running a bunch of. I'll have to see where my mood lies elsewhere as far as watching other stuff goes, but we'll get to that when we come to it. But those are my thoughts on this one, and well, obviously, hopefully our main character probably isn't dead, but at least his internal mindset. So hopefully he's just napping for now, and it doesn't like drag on for 5 episodes until they can put the spirit back inside the deepest regions of the Itadori's mind. Itadori, whatever. Sounds however, either way, so fuck it. Anyway, on to the next one. And another episode in, and shit be crazy, yo. Not only did the curse take over the kid's body because he got the shit kicked out of him, but wait, can I get in trouble for saying shit under 30 seconds? Screw it, I'm not a partner yet. Anyway, so he decided to take a stroll, and he decided to visit... Oh god, what the hell is his name again? Alright, Fushiguro. And, well, he decides to propose a little challenge of, try to keep me entertained long enough, and maybe the kid will live, because he rips the body, he rips Itadori's heart out, and just kind of tosses it aside before the two of them went at it. Now, the fight lasted a little while, and basically just ended to a little emotional moment between the two of them, and Itadori taking his body back and willingly dying. Weird main character dying. Haven't seen that before in an anime. So the rest of the episode is pretty much spent on his classmates grieving him and us meeting some of the other schoolmates of theirs. I don't know. One of them is, I don't know how to describe her. She's kind of hot. She's also kind of handsome, which is a weird word to use, but it's the one I'd use. And then there's a dude who only talks in egg roll, rice ball ingredients, which is kind of strange, but he apparently has some really cool shit going on with him too. And then there's a panda. Just literally a panda. A talking panda. I still want to know what's up with him. And on the sidebar, you also have a man who has a bunch of curses following him around like he's their leader or something. Which I imagine that's probably a thing that'll escalate into a huge problem later on. And they just kind of talk casually at a diner and go through their whole spiel and plan, and something is laid out to the curses that 2 things must be done. Take out Goro Sensei and Gojo Sensei, my bad. And either take hold of or kill Itadori and the curse inside of him. And the curses being talked to are just like, wait, isn't that kid dead? Well, not all is as it seems, as with a lot of anime. So in the next episode, it looks like we're going to be taking a little look inside of the kid's soul and the curse that has him taken hold of, and should be a good one. Though, one more thing, I do love the little comedic bits in between episodes here and there. It's actually quite funny in my opinion, but yeah, that's all for that. 'Twas fun, and I hope to enjoy more of this. Where I might do one more where I'm wearing the same shirt, but then I'm also getting kind of tired, so I'll probably be wearing a different shirt next time I do a part for this, so. Till then. It's been a while since I watched Jujutsu Kaisen, so I'm not gonna try and recap on what happened to you guys a few moments ago, but I will go over the episode of Itadoji's dead. You know, that's all sad and stuff. Or is he? Or is he? But yeah, he has a little conversation with Sukaku and... Is that his name? I think that's his name. Or Suzaku? Suzaku? I forgot the spirit's name, but whatever. Even though I literally just saw it at least 2 or 3 times. I know one of those was probably right. Anyway. So yeah, we see our main character walking around in the other guy's domain or mind or whatever. And they end up having a little, little fight, a little conversation. Neither of things go well for Ida, and he gets sat on and kicked around and re-killed, I guess would be a way to put what happened. Because they tried to have a conversation of, hey, I'll bring you back to life under certain conditions. Which boiled down to, alright, let's fight to the death, and if I win, you follow my conditions. If you win, I'll follow yours. And, well, as I just said, he got re-killed and brought back to life at least, but the conditions that he had to go through kind of sucked. But he's going to be kept secretly alive from everybody else for the time being. Then we shift over to the bad, at least who I believe to be the current antagonists. Not sure how long they're going to last, but they are the current antagonists. You have Volcano Head and the actual human among them, and a couple of other dudes who are pretty much irrelevant probably. And during their discussion, one of the servers of the restaurant that they're in, the cafe or what have you, comes by and is like, could you order something, please? You're kinda... And didn't even get to finish his sentence before Volcano had killed not only him, with 2 other people would see as spontaneous combustion, but pretty much everybody in the cafe just got lit up. And that kind of sucked, but I guess this shit has to happen sometimes, where if you're in the middle of an anime world and you think that nothing bad is happening, even though you get an evil presence from somebody, you should probably run as soon as possible. So yeah, a bunch of people ended up burning alive, and it kind of sucks for some of them, but hey. C'est la vie, right? So, what Ida is going to be doing while he's relaxing away from everybody else while they think he's dead is watching a bunch of movies to get his spirit pressure under control. To which one he was told that he would be learning how to do such things initially. In his words, he thought he was going to be learning something like the Spirit Gun, Rasengan, Dodon Beam, etc., etc. And it's like, did that motherfucker just name off a bunch of other anime canon moves? Because what gives him the right... This is not Gintoki. Like, he is not Gintoki, and this is not Gintama. But yeah, he's gonna be watching movies that allows him to try and control his emotions while Bear with boxing gloves is trying to sleep next to him, and if it wakes up, it's gonna punch him. If he starts to fall asleep, it's gonna punch him, unless he can keep a steady flow of energy flowing within the bear, which a little weird, but I guess it's a good way to train. And the episode ends off with Gojo on his way to meet up with an official of the school, and he gets out of the car to cut off the bad stuff that could have happened to the driver involving Volcano Head, who drops down from the sky, and that's where they end off the episode. So that's probably going to be a pretty epic scene that's going to happen between the two of them, so can't wait to see that and make a review on it. Probably in a few moments. I will say now, though, only a fifth into the series, that the overall review for this show will probably be a couple days late from the finale, but it'll come up not too long after the finale of the show. Same with another show that I should have gotten on weeks ago but didn't, so I'll probably binge it to its finale after its finale happened on Saturday, because this will probably not even be up until Monday at the most, I would assume, based on how much anime I actually get to watching. I assume I'll get at least another 2 or 3 episodes in tonight before I decide to go to bed. But on that note, let's move into the next one. So, apparently, weirdly enough, the Volcano Head's name is Jogo. So, did they literally just swap parts of Gojo's name and go yep, that's Volcano Head. Anyway, jokes aside. So, the fight escalated, It was pretty badass, lots of explosions, lots of hands being thrown. But this Jogo dude could not do anything to Gojo no matter what he tried. In fact, he even got the shit kicked out of him a few times throughout this fight. And then, in the middle of it all, he figured, hey, I'll just use my domain and win, right? But then he's just like, where'd Gojo go? Only for, our white-haired teacher to return with Ida in hand and be like, yo, he's gonna watch for a bit. So that led to a moment of confusion for our living curse, and it ended up not being a big deal to him, so he just went about his business anyway, creating his domain, which was basically a fucking the inside of a volcano, or a volcano erupting from beneath the ground, or something pretty cool like that. Magma flowing, earth cracking, and all that badass shit. So Gojo goes into explaining that when you're in a curse's domain, you'll be guaranteed hit by everything it has to throw at you, no matter what. So the little thing of him always being able to dodge somebody's attacks, that is not exactly the case. However, he then went into discussion that the only way to beat a curse's domain is to create your own domain. So Volcano Head thought he had the advantage in his domain, but Gojo was a step ahead the whole time, creating his own. And his was way more powerful, so it overlapped instead of just did it within the other person's. And that's where the fight took a turn, because he literally ripped Volcano's head off. Just right off. And as he was questioning the thing, the severed head, it got rescued by a curse that, instead of talking normally, talks backwards. Literally, the subtitles have whatever he's saying backwards. I kind of like how that's how they did that, too. I haven't, paused to actually read what he's saying half the time, but he'll probably be dead one of the first times he fights anyway, so does it really matter? But he uses flowers as a power, and that's a little strange. Especially for a more monstrous demon like this one. But yeah, that all happens, and Joe goes headless. Well, his bodiless head, since they didn't take the body, they just took the head, went back to the enemy's headquarters, which is a beautiful beachscape for some reason, and met up with somebody who reminds me kind of like Suzuya from Tokyo Ghoul, all stitched up and stuff. And then the after credits sequence, after they had their whole discussion of what was going to happen soon, involved a comedic routine between all the bad guys playing soccer with Jogo's head. Good thing the bad guys know how to have fun, I guess. Because usually bad guys are all, serious of, I'm gonna kill the good guy and I'm gonna capture this dude and burn this place down and all that stuff. So I guess the bad guys at least have a sense of humor in this show. For now. I know these aren't the only 4 antagonists we have, because again, screenshots, Twitter, and all that stuff, which is why the next shows that come on that I need to keep up on a weekly basis for, I'm going to. So I don't, fall behind. But, yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of what was in this episode, because all the minor details are just, not that relevant. More yawning. I hate yawning. We're going to be ending off here, though, and moving into the next episode in a couple of seconds. So I will see you guys for that then. So the contents of this episode are a little odd. A couple of third years from another school swing by and decide to interrupt Fujiro and Fujiro? Yeah, I think that's his name. I'm not gonna remember these names for a while. I apologize. Anyway, the 2 first years they interrupted getting beverages on their break from training, and well, that doesn't go well because the big guy out of the third years from the other school asked a simple question: "What kind of girl are you into?" Meanwhile, Fujiro's just like, hold on. If I keep saying the wrong name, I'm gonna really just irk myself. I should log in and update my shit. Okay, I was close. I missed a syllable. Yeah. The big guy Toto questioned Fushiguro what his favorite kind of woman is, and he had no idea how to answer that. Meanwhile, Toto's favorite type of woman is the same as Itadori's, so they'll get along famously later. But since Megumi decided to answer with a very bland and boring answer, he got the shit kicked out of him for a little while, and when he was about to get serious, they got interrupted by the other upperclassmen from Megumi's school. Panda and Rice Ball dude. But that's on that end of things after he got his ass kicked for several minutes and was about to get serious. And Toto knew that, but he wasn't about to argue the point when he got shut down, since things were about to get interesting and it could wait. Meanwhile, Nobara got beat up by Mai, who is Maki's sister, and in my opinion, a little bit hotter. I'm into girls with glasses, but overall, Mai's just a little bit hotter. And she's not that strong, but she managed to knock Nobara out and have a fucking gun pointed at her. Just not spirit bullets or anything like that, just a literal gun, and just threatening. Meanwhile, you know, Gojo went to go meet up with the principal of the other school and tell him about everything that happened involving the two curses the other day. And put a bit of a warning and a statement to him before leaving. And the principal's assistant, Miwa, is apparently a huge fangirl, because when he asked her to go get some tea, she left, got a picture with Gojo, and then came back without getting the tea because she's a bad assistant because she's a fangirl. And yes, those two things do have something to do with each other this time around. But then we get shown later what Toto was going to do, because he had a fan meetup with some sort of, I'm guessing, voice actress or celebrity of some kind in anime. And it was just a very awkward scene. Even more awkward because he gave a ticket to do the same thing to Mai, and she went to do it. And I think there's a little bit of gay sparking from Mai. That might have been just me who felt that, but I think that entire couple seconds was just pretty gay. Oh yeah, and then there was the thing that happened before the after credits thing of that, and 3 bodies were found dead and decayed in the middle of a movie theater. And some new youngling character came in and, found the dude who looks like Suzuya. Now, this new character also is shown in the intro every episode, palling around with Itadori, so are they a good guy or a bad guy who might turn good, or someone who's acting good? We'll obviously see next episode, so I'm gonna probably watch that. I'm not overly tired yet, so I'll probably watch that and another one before bed and a short change, but we shall see. But with that said, let's move on. So the kid that ran into the Suzuya looking guy at the end of the last episode basically asked him if he could do what he did to those 3 guys who, after a little bit of a flashback, showed were bullying him. So, honestly, it's another one of those cases of they got what they deserved, even if the bad guy didn't know that. So, at least this time, the bad guy killed someone who deserved it. But yeah, the kid asked if he could learn how to do that too, and of course the bad guy's gonna, take into consideration that this could be useful to us. So he takes him off somewhere and they start having conversations about it. And in the meantime, Itadori and our new character Nanami, who Gesundheit, who is as almost as badass as Gojo, takes our main character out for a little stroll to research what happened at the movie theater when those 3 high school students were deformed and murdered. And that led into the 2 of them fighting a curse or 2, showing off Nanami's badass power of pretty much making things into a video game where he can create a weak point and then try to strike at it. And if he does, it's 9 times out of 10 a guaranteed kill, which is pretty cool. And then we get to see more of Itadori's power that he grew, which is basically a 2-shot. First he hits the opponent and then his cursed energy hits them afterward, which doubles up the strength of the initial blow. A couple of badass powers to go off from. So then they do the reconnaissance, and Nanami knows that the main bad guy's actually fucking with them and trying to lead them into a trap. And Itadori knows nothing at all other than the curses that they had fought were actually humans turned into curses. And our two bad guys are having discussions on their end so the kid can learn about how curses and stuff work. Not that he's really scared of anything our stitched up dude has to say. But around the ending of the episode, Itadori is sent on a mission to try and track down the kid, and Nanami was going to go and find the bad guy himself, because we all know that's going to go oh so well. And I can't wait to see how horribly it actually goes. So, that's really all I have to say about the episode. Not a lot happened. They investigated that, and the bad guy had talk with the new kid, and at the after credit thing, Gojo proved he was the ultimate troll by sticking a piece of paper that said that literally just said the word penis and had a little dingle dangle drawn onto it into Nanami's pocket, because Gojo is super strong and he is also the ultimate troll. Speaking of strong, guess we're gonna have some fight scenes in the next episode, I would imagine. Either that or just Itadori becoming friends with the new kid, which might end up to bite him in the ass or bite the enemy in the ass. Suppose we'll see. By the way, probably a new shirt because it's already approaching time where I'll probably be asleep. So it's been a little while since I recorded a review for an episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. And, this one kind of sort of begins where I think the last one ended off. Where we saw a new guy getting picked up by the bad guy. But before that, we gotta get to another flashback of him getting his shit kicked in by, some high school bullies. Because, hey, that's what bullies do. They kick the shit out of people. But that's just more fuel to the fire for what happened, with his mindset to join up with the bad guy, but he doesn't know he's technically a bad guy, except the fact he killed 3 of his bullies. Meaning he probably has more people that he wants to get back at, but the bad guy at least killed a few of them, which at least he killed people who deserved it, as I probably said already. But that said, the episode pretty much goes over how you'd expect, those two having a conversation. Moves over to another part where we were at in the last episode with Itadoki and the other guy, going on to try and find out if he has any potential to fight against these curses. And, whether he does or doesn't depends on how the situation goes. But because one of the guy's teachers is in front of his house and ready to, do the whole spiel of thinking the bullies are his friends and saying why didn't he attend his funeral and blah, blah, blah. The guy starts to get pissed about to probably kill his teacher, honestly. And then, Itadoki kind of gets in the way, and because they released the extremely low-level curse early, even though the teacher was there, so he had to go and grab it before anything bad happened. Which, was probably for the best, because we don't know what kind of, even with a little cursed spirit, we don't know what kind of shit would have happened had it attacked the teacher. But yeah, he pantsed the teacher, ran off, and came back, and they went off to talk. In the meantime, we have, the other sorcerer who's not officially with the school anymore, taking on aforementioned bad guy in a one-on-one fight And their styles really contrast each other, so it comes to a point where he considers just backing out from the fight, but by that point he knows it's pretty much impossible. And, well, the fight goes about how you'd expect. He doesn't die or anything. He gets hit and thinks he could die, but at least backs the bad guy off. And then, as soon as his time off work hits, he goes into serious mode, which he mentioned was overtime, so I guess that makes sense. And I imagine the fight is probably going to continue quite heavily in the next episode. I look forward to that one, and I hope you guys look forward to my next few minute review of the episode on the next one. Let's roll. Alright, so this episode, Jujutsu Kaisen, was a bit interesting. Yuji and Junpei met up and got to talking about all the stuff that they had to talk about, and well, he got invited over for food and a movie and hung out with Junpei, and it was all a good old time. Though I'll reflect back on that in a moment. We also have on the other end where Nanami and, Patchface fought, and it looked like Nanami had won, but really he just was able to get away more than actually won the fight. Since, yeah, the bad guy is kind of a lot stronger than most of them can probably handle, except for Sukuna. Which kind of sucks, but hey, at least that means we'll get a good fight in a few episodes, right? At least I'm assuming it'll happen sooner rather than later. I'm already almost halfway done with the season, so. But then we reflect back on, Yuji and Junpei's meeting, and Junpei's mother passed out drunk after dinner, so the two watched the movie by themselves, and Itadori took off, and then Junpei's mother woke up and discovered one of Sukuna's fingers on the table. Only for a cursed spirit to, well, take her life, unfortunately. So after that typical thing of, the character whose mother died went into a dark place, and since Junpei had already met up with the bad guy, then he knew exactly what he had to do since he was already given the ability to do so. So with the help of, two of the actual bad guys, he went into his school, all of his former classmates unconscious at least, and the only ones left standing were the teacher who had visited him the previous day, and the guy he puts responsibility on for his mother getting killed, to which he curses him and starts kicking the ever-living crap out of him. And Itadori discovered it, and he got talked down to, so next episode's probably going to be a fight between the two new friends, but suppose we'll see how that goes, and, well, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. That pretty messed up to have killed his mother that early. At least wait a couple episodes for us to see, more of her, but I guess that's how you really turn somebody from being a good kid into, evil, is by killing their parent through some sort of source you can't really explain very well, or at least manipulate into your own explanations. Anyway, we'll move into the next one as soon as I get to it. Alright, so, bruh. Junpei and Itadori had it out, through some fisticuffs, and Junpei's jellyfish Shinigami, whatever the fuck. I think it's Shikigami that they called it. Kinda absorbed most of the impact, but of course Itadori got a few blows in and knocked some sense into Junpei. But of course, in the middle of their fight, Mahito showed up and, well, used his little trick on Junpei after securing Itadori against a wall, and, well, for what we know, Junpei's dead. So why they stuck him in the intro for the series, at least the beginning of the series, because I'm on episode 13, well, about to be going into episode 13, so who knows, maybe they changed the intro. Kind of sad considering the dude only made it through half of the beginning of the show. So, like, the first quarter of the entire show. Again, as far as I'm aware, maybe the dude could be healed somehow, even though they don't have an idea of how. Hell, maybe if they actually end up killing Mahito in this episode, like they plan to, but I'll get to that in a second, everyone they transformed who's still alive will be back to normal. That's the way to think of things, I would think. But, yeah. Then Mahito and Itadori had a nice little fight. Apparently, Yuji is the only one. I'm going to say Yuji because repeating Itadori is kind of longer than necessary. But yeah, Yuji just kind of sucker punched the dude and learned that he actually is one of the few people who can damage him with a physical attack. So, once both of them realized it, it was time to go ham. So Mahito went from, going on the offensive to the defensive, then back to the offensive, and eventually a mixture of them throughout the entire fight, putting some holes through Yuji, and Sukuna just kind of sitting back enjoying the show. Then Mahito tried to do his little soul transfiguration trick, and Sukuna said, "No, you are not allowed. Try that again, and I will kill that." Well, that's the long version of what went down. Just, if you try this again, I will kill you. So it went back to just the fight that originally started things. Yuji repeatedly headbutting Mahito until he broke his fucking nose. And when he was about to deal the finishing blow, Nanami showed up and they had a little discussion to plot out what was going to happen to continue the fight in order to make sure Mahito died now instead of later. So I guess we'll see how that ends out, and hopefully they do kill the dude, because he's not a good person. He's not at all. Like, shit. One of the main bad guys, obviously, but damn, what a douche. Anyway. Alright. So that was a bunch of stuff that just happened. Mahito, Manami, and Yuji all had their little scuffle, and, well, moments after losing the edge and Mahito started getting the shit kicked out of him, he was able to open his domain expansion, which wasn't a good thing, but Yuji was crazy enough to break into that domain, and, well, he didn't even need to do anything, because remember what was mentioned last time, where if Mahito tried to touch Sakuma's soul again, he was going to pay for it. Well, the domain expansion guaranteed him to touch whoever was inside soul, and that meant he was automatically going into Sakuna's soul, and he paid dearly, almost dying from just the one attack given to him from Sukuna. But he left him to just suffer instead of straight up killing him. So Yuji went in for the final blow when the dude blew himself up akin to Cell, honestly. And instead of going boom, he popped and unfortunately escaped. So he didn't die, but he realized he was way outmatched. Just to put it that way. Like, Sukuna is here, and this Mahito guy is, like, here. So, Mahito's strong. Sukuna's better. And Nanami probably would have died after showing us a little bit of a flashback from what forced him to go back to being a sorcerer. So he was, of course, grateful to Yuji and didn't bitch at him about taking on Mahito one-on-one by himself, but more craziness to come, because we're finally getting into that festival that the other two had been training up, all this time over the past several episodes, so time to see what kind of fun stuff is going to happen there. So we open with a bit of reflection on what happened in the last couple episodes. Apparently Junpei is, yes, dead. And it was unfortunate. But you knew he was not going to last too long, probably. And we roll into the talk of how they're going to bring back Yuji in a comedic sense. To which, of course, Gojo has a dumb suggestion, and they roll out with that. Also, something about the bad guys meeting back up after Mahito got his ass beat. But that's something I'll probably come back up in an episode or two. But for now, we have that whole school exchange thing starting. And it's an exorcism contest, to which it also turned into trying to kill Yuji because he was revealed to his friends and the enemy school, you know, before everything even started, so they had time to plot, because plot. I'm trying to collect my thoughts. Apologies. Nope. But yeah. So all of them are going to try to attack and kill Yuji at the same time instead of just, you know, going after the objective and trying to attack him. So we're going to see how that goes down for a little while, it seems, and hopefully nobody gets too hurt, because that'd be against the rules. Killing is also against the rules, but hey, you know, sometimes you have to bend the rules. So saith one of the higher-ups in the education system. Gotta love how that works. See you in a bit. Well, hey guys, been a while since I actually recorded something for, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen, and obviously that is a thing because of my hair being, like, not existent compared to the last time I recorded this. Or maybe not. I don't remember when the last time I did one of these is. Anyway, the sister school exchange started, and, well, as they were told in the last episode, or the episode before that, whenever it was, the Kyoto school decided to go right after Yuji, and that started with Toto, who had a good fight with him, you know, had a little bonding experience with him, and now they're friends, supposedly. And when his classmates interfered, he just told them to back off, and they listened because he is the strongest one of them, which is a good thing for Yuji, I guess, especially because it seems like how it boiled down later in the episode that the two are gonna, like, bond further and actually be friends. I don't know how that works, but hey. I do know that, you know, the Kyoto principal is a douchebag, but and a lot of the characters from that class are actually pretty cool people. Can't say much for a couple of them, but, like, the one girl at least has some form of personality, and the others do in their own way, just not exactly to the extent that one would expect. It turned out to end up in a good fight scene between Yuji and Toto before, or well, after the fact of Yuji getting his face punched in. But now he's back up and fighting normal, and now Toto's gonna try and teach him a lesson in how to use his aura better. Or curse better, which is actually pretty cool, because maybe that means we'll see him actually be more of a badass than he already is. So I can't wait to see what else kind of comes up from the next couple episodes in this. But that's all I really have to say about this. As I'm glad to be watching this again, and I will continue on. So let's get back into the next one in a little while. Okay, been a while since I recorded part for this, but I'm actually gonna be able to finish it now. Yay! Because I just binged the last, like, 9 episodes. Because I wanted to sit back, chill, and watch something, you know? So, let's run off from where I started to the end of the season. I'll start trying to remain as spoiler-free as possible with the episodes, though, unless it's a live reaction, because I think that takes a little bit of the fun out of being a review. I don't know, I could be wrong. Yeah, always up to listen to comments and see how people feel. But, we run through the rest of the exchange program, or, yeah, the exchange competition or whatever going on, to where, of course, our main school we're looking at gets, ahead as far as it's concerned with the fighting, since pretty sure the other school lost more people by the end. Counting up, yeah, that's how it went before, shit went down, and there's a big to-do for a couple episodes about one of the advanced cursed spirits causing a bunch of shenanigans, backed up by a couple other goons who didn't really end up doing much. And, well, from that point, Yuji went from being a slight badass to being more of a badass, thanks to the person he was fighting at the end of the last episode we had reviewed. Apparently, gaining new friends while fighting is just kind of a thing during anime, right? But he helped him learn a technique that sorcerers need to get stronger, and that's a really cool technique to have learned. Sure, you can't use it much, but Black Flash, pretty badass. Fucking, oh, you're just in the general vicinity of this. Goodbye to a limb, or chunk of your body. Speaking of chunk of your body, Gojo swung in to save the day after shenanigans went down. I said this was going to be as spoilers-free as possible, and yet, yeah, fucking, whatever. After the battle went down, although it should have been cancelled, it went on, and this time our main people did better because nothing got interfered with and nobody was trying to actually kill them. A bunch more comedy bits between Toto and Yuji, and I do like the little after things of the episodes that they do, though. The Juju stroll or whatever it was. Some of them are funny, some of them are kind of cringy, like them doing something of a Bishi with the advanced cursed spirits. That's just kind of weird. After all that, they, go about routine as normal. Investigations, missions, all that stuff. Which results in a bunch of really good fights, honestly. Like, now that I finally got into this, I quite enjoy what's going on. But people do say that Studio Mappa is, like, up there for quality. And, yeah, can't help to agree. Probably why I should also finally get to watching the first half of, Attack on Titan Season 4. Though another anime I want to watch within the next few weeks, I'm probably also going to do a review of some kind or another on. But back to the point. That mission went from a simple, start saving more people from dying than who had already, to fighting a couple of dudes who had lived once and then got turned into wombs or fetus or something, and eventually, were able to grow up. I think that what I saw was them being treated like Sukuna's fingers, but that's neither here nor there. But more good fights came from that and some really interesting strategies, which, honestly, by the end of that, I was proud of what I heard for the ending of the season, and I know we got a prequel movie coming, I just... Yeah, what really took me so long to actually watch the rest of this? Because, I mean, you go from the fights in the exchange thing and the plot development, and pretty sure the one dude is Fushigiro's brother. Could be wrong about that, but it seems legit by the things I hear. Well, hear, have seen, semantics. You know, Nomura's a badass as well, and Yuji's +1 finger stronger, so... Granted, that was kind of unintentional on his half, but shit happens. You know, there's a lot of secrets being kept between friends, which kind of sucks. But hey, come next season, things are going to be fun. As far as the movie, that should also be pretty fun to watch, even if it's a prequel. Prequels are always quite entertaining. Like the ReZero prequel that I did a review on. You can go check that out. If I remember, I'll link it. If not, well, it's not too far back. But, any other thoughts? No. I want to try and keep it as spoiler-free as possible. That's why I didn't do it episode after episode. I just kind of went off what was on top of my head. You know, they played whack-a-mole. They had some fun fights. They had some not-so-fun fights. There were some animation errors, because as good as Mappa is, there were some errors. Because, I mean, I don't recall if it was mentioned before if they heal naturally, but after his fight, Fushiguro did have a large blood stain on his head, and then when they found him, it was just kind of not there. So, continuity errors, but... anyway. That is it for Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen that I finally was able to finish and thoroughly enjoyed. Duh. So go ahead and recommend me some other stuff that I could watch that's, you know, similar animation-wise or even content-wise to this or whatever else in the comment section. Your thoughts on Season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, and if you're excited for the prequel to come out, because now I'm more interested in it than I was in the first place. And otherwise, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this, and my gaming channel in the description down below, because both of those things do help out a lot. As does following my Twitch, because I stream gaming content every single day. You can also follow the Twitter and like the Facebook, but if you don't want to, it's pretty much just missing out on random comments and shinies being shared and sometimes anime related content, like when I upload a video from this channel. All that being said, it's been the Blazer King saying out. Oh, been the Blazer King with King's Critiques. How do I always screw that up? That's it for now. Peace.